That is a huge win for Arsenal, 4-2 at home to Leicester City. While Man City dropped points in the northeast, Arsenal looked absolutely sensational going forward. Yes, they conceded a couple of goals. We're going to talk about all the goals in a minute. But it sets up Arsenal massively, massively well going into the next few fixtures, which I think fall very, very nicely for Mikel Arteta to put as much pressure on Man City, particularly while Man City are in this transitional period of trying to find out the best midfield solution, particularly while Kevin De Bruyne is still out. I think Arsenal have got a massive duty to themselves to put as much pressure as possible on the title holders. And I think Arsenal in this game did that very, very well. Trossard today was absolutely sensational. I have to shout out Jurrien Timber. He's come in, and obviously against City, I was chatting to Arsenal people. It must have been an injury to Ben White. It must have been some sort of thing gone wrong. But no, it now looks like it must have been a purely tactical thing that obviously Mikel Arteta really likes the rotation of Jurrien Timber and Ben White now. Jurrien Timber as a right back, and how talented do you have to be? How talented do you have to be to come back from an injury? Come back and then play left back, where you could argue he's not even a left back. I think he'd argue he's a centre back on his day, a left-sided centre back with a great left foot. Now he's being asked to play right back, and he's putting balls into the box which are absolutely outrageous. He's 2-footed, he's got pace, he's got power. Jurrien Timber is a proper footballer. I'm a massive, massive fan. He puts in a great ball for Martinelli. Martinelli missed a big opportunity just before that, and it must be his first goal in, certainly in the Premier League, in over 15 games? Maybe I'm completely wrong in that. I saw somewhere it's 18 games without a goal or an assist for Martinelli at some point recently for Arsenal. So it's a big goal for him. He could have had 2, could have had 3 really. You have to say massive kudos to Arteta for trusting him. I think he hasn't been terrible. I think you can be critical of the numbers, and a lot of people in football today slag off numbers. If you don't have the numbers that you can sort of display on a Twitter, on a tweet, on an IG post, then it can not look good for you. But I think Martinelli links up play quite well. I think his delivery is decent. I think his work rate's fine. I still think I don't see anyone that's come in and really going to take his place away from him massively. I know Trossard can, but Arteta is now playing this kind of it's almost like a 4-4-2 with Trossard and Havertz, who aren't quite strikers, either of them. At points when Leicester City had the ball, it looks like a 4-6-0. Very similar to, obviously, the Man City game as well. So you can play this kind of line with Havertz and Trossard, all linking up with Rice, Partey, Saka, and Martinelli. And I think at points it works wonders. Let's be completely honest. Trossard scores a nice little goal as well to make it 2-0, and then Leicester City come back. And my comments on Leicester City this season is, yes, their points total doesn't look flattering. Yes, the Leicester City fans were very critical of Cooper midweek in the League Cup. They went through on penalties, I believe. I don't think the Leicester City fans are massive on Cooper / what's happened with the ownership, with maybe the amount of money that Leicester City can put in this season. I think Leicester City deserve a slightly better squad than they've got in the Premier League. Jamie Vardy still, running rings around people and putting in massive amount of work, but is it enough to keep Leicester City in the Premier League? Jamie Vardy was actually pulled back by Saliba for the first goal for Arsenal. There's a bit of controversy there. You have to let me know in the comments if that should have been a foul on Jamie Vardy. But yeah, I'm a massive fan of James Justin. I always was when he came from Luton Town. Very young fullback to Leicester City. Did very, very well for Brendan Rodgers, I think it was. It might have even been Puel just before him, but certainly Brendan Rodgers, and he was fantastic at left back. James Justin, he's been asked to play right back, which I don't think is his natural position, a bit like Jurrien Timber. Obviously came back from was it a leg break? Major injury, James Justin, and he was absolutely fantastic today. The headed goal completely took David Raya by surprise. Nothing he could have done about it, and actually there's nothing David Raya could have done about the second one. The hit was so pure from James Justin. Ball comes across his body and he smashes it. It's got a little bit of the Pavard kind of outside of the right boot going into the far corner vibe about it. It was an unbelievable finish. I mean, James Justin, people forget he was linked to being in England squads. He was linked to big moves away from Leicester City before the injury. Very, very powerful, smart footballer. Remains to be seen if he can get back to that level. But he's a very, very good footballer. A lot of people have slept on because he's had chronic injuries and certainly one big one. But it's good to see him I think he's been decent so far for Leicester City. He's played a lot of football for Leicester this season. He's been very, very decent indeed. Arsenal ultimately had to find a way through. Yet again, I was watching this, I thought, wow, Arsenal cannot draw this game. They have to put pressure on Leicester City. And somehow they found a way through. I think it's a big compliment to, it's a massive compliment to Saka, to the deliveries into the box that he puts in consistently. The balls into the back post are always so deep, so powerful. I think it's an underrated asset to his game that Saka can whip these balls in. Obviously, we saw it against Man City at the Etihad. He can whip these balls in with pace, with power. He's not just lumping it in. He's a far more creative and subtle footballer than maybe even I give him credit for. Because his delivery into the box on his left foot is wicked. It's nasty, and it puts defenders under a lot of pressure. And obviously, back post, it's a bit of a scramble. Trossard pokes it onto Ndidi. It's a bit of an own goal, I think it is. And Arsenal basically get the winning goal. Arsenal make it 4-2 as well with Kai Havertz, probably the ugliest goal you're ever going to see. I remember Di Michaelis scoring a goal similar to that where the ball kind of bounces off his shin from the defender a little bit. So it rolls in from Kai Havertz, obviously not. There's nothing he could have done about it. He was in the right place at the right time. And Arsenal make it look a little bit better than maybe it was. But Arsenal should have been well clear in this game. I thought they dominated large parts of the game. The midfield of Partey and Rice, I like that a lot. And Martinelli and Saka on either wing. I think this system that Arsenal are playing, particularly with how good their back four is, Calafiori and Timber are looking really, really good. When you have Gabriel and Saliba doing what they're doing, the security that they provide, the pace that back four has, the aggression in the challenge, it means you can step up a little bit. It means you don't need two defensive midfielders. And at points, Arsenal were almost playing like a classic 4-4-2. And you had these you had four lads bombing forward, the two wingers and the two strikers. It means you've got presence in the box. When an open play ball gets whipped into the box, you've got two lads in there that can flick things onto each other. Obviously, we saw this kind of confusion in the box multiple times in the game. Anything that falls in the box of Trossard, it feels like he can just get it into the back of the net. Saka's got that wicked delivery. And you look at Kai Havertz, he's always in the right place. He's always picking up these random goals. I mean, it's just like... he's always the fourth man on the score sheet. If Arsenal winning 4-0, Kai Havertz will be the fourth scorer. It always feels like that. It was a good result today, and let's just talk about the Arsenal fixtures coming up. PSG at home, I think they'll absolutely batter PSG in my opinion. Southampton at home, they'll batter them as well. Bournemouth away, they'll definitely beat those lot with their fantastic away form. Shakhtar at home, Liverpool at home, Preston North End away. The next 6. The Liverpool one is obviously the tricky one. If Liverpool went there and really battered Arsenal, it would really play into Man City's hands massively. I don't think that's going to happen necessarily. If Arsenal can, particularly with Martin Odegaard, get him fit. This is after the international break, I think, 27th of October. They can get Martin Odegaard back. They don't need to play this kind of 4-2-4. They can make it 4-3-3 again. A little bit more subtlety, a little bit more control. They'll definitely be able to bully Liverpool at the Emirates and get a big win. And I think by November time, City could drop more points without Rodri. I really do worry about City going into some of these bigger games, particularly the away games, particularly if you think about a Manchester derby, for example, some of these big emotional games for Man City. That's in December, but in this kind of period of time where there's a transition, like Ilkay Gundogan, I still think is coming into a kind of fitness, trying to figure out his fitness a little bit. De Bruyne's not fully fit. Phil Foden's not really been brought back into the side fully. Kyle Walker's at all sorts. Then Arsenal got a massive opportunity. I see them winning the next 6 in a row and giving themselves a platform after this Leicester City performance. It'll wake them up a little bit because Leicester City were decent. The James Justin goals were fantastic. They were valid. And Leicester put a lot of pressure on Arsenal. And they usually do in these kind of games, let's be honest. Before they got relegated, they always put an Arsenal under pressure in these big moments. But fantastic result for Arteta. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'll see you very, very soon.